taking down the Republican Party. House Speaker John Boehner told a group of Republicans that after listening to the president's inaugural address, he is convinced the president has just one goal.
It should be clear to all of you that he knows he can't do any of that as long as the House is controlled by Republicans. And so we're expecting here over the next 22 months to be the focus of this administration as they attempt to annihilate the Republican Party.
Well, they're doing a pretty good job of that themselves right now. Is that really the president's goal? Out front tonight, CNN contributors Roland Martin and Reihan Salam. I couldn't resist, Reihan. I know you're trying not to laugh, but I couldn't resist. Okay. You're always your own worst enemy. Okay.
He was a true sermon. He actually admitted to.
Reihan, here's what some of the president said in his inauguration speech on Monday. I just want to play a little clip to see if you take away what John Boehner takes away. Here's the president.
Understand that our country cannot succeed when a shrinking few do very well and a growing many barely make it. Our journey is not complete until our gay brothers and sisters are treated like anyone else under the law. Our journey is not complete until we find a better way to welcome the striving, hopeful immigrants who still see America as a land of opportunity.
Annihilating?
Well, here's the thing. I think that fundamentally President Obama's speech was all about portraying his particular domestic policy agenda as the working out of American history. Mm-hmm. This is where we're meant to go. And the implicit message... It was
a liberal manifesto.
And the implicit message of that is the folks who oppose his agenda are on the wrong side of history. And my view is that, what Speaker Boehner said is actually pretty banal. I think it's pretty clear that what President Obama repeatedly said during the campaign is that he wants to break the Republican fever. That doesn't necessarily mean annihilating the Republican Party as a party. It means making the Republican Party pretty much a miniature version of the Democratic Party. That's what the president wants. That's what really all transformative presidents want to do. The trouble is that it's not going to work.
They want everybody to agree with them, Roland.
Exactly.
Why not?
Right. I'm trying to figure out...
They want to be loved,
I'm trying to figure out... Seriously, Speaker Boehner, what's the big deal? It's a big duh. Look, if you're a Republican president...
Yes.
...or Democratic president... You don't want divided government. You want a House and a Senate that's in your hands. Karl Rove, what did he talk about? A permanent Republican majority. He was trying to set up a system where the country, at least 50%, would vote for Republican president, Republican House, Republican Senate. Didn't last long, so that's what you try to do. Republicans love talking about Ronald Reagan. Why? The Reagan Revolution. To this day, they talk about him. Why? Because from 1980 all the way through 2000, it's been all about Reagan. This is what you do. I don't understand, Speaker Boehner.
All right, but what about so issues like gay rights, which he mentions there? You could talk about the right and wrong side of history. What about the practicality, Roland? What does this do to a lot of Democrats who live in red states where people don't agree with that?
Well, it also...
They're running for re-election now in 2014.
But that is one issue, and it comes down to voters. Do you vote based upon one issue, or do you look at a variety of issues? Same thing about the issue of choice. There are some people out there who say, I am only going to vote based upon whether or not you are pro-choice or if you're pro-life. Those are single voter issues. When you actually look at the polling data, you don't have a significant number of single issue voters in America. So they're saying, hey, I might be for same-sex marriage or against it or pro-life or pro-choice, but if it's about finances, I might choose a different decision.
I want to thank Roland for making my point for me, which is that fundamentally President Obama is engaging in what we like to call hubris. Here's the thing that happens. George W. Bush and Karl Rove also believed they had a permanent majority. Guess what? It wasn't all that permanent. Ronald Reagan won 49 states, almost 60% of the vote, and then guess what? His majority didn't last forever either. The simple truth is that the more successful you are, when you win a big victory, it also means that the Democrats are representing Silicon Valley billionaires, and they're also representing struggling immigrants in the inner city. When you're representing both of those groups, there are tensions in your coalition, and then that coalition, you win one day, you lose the next.
Well, and nobody likes anybody, even if you like somebody. They get too big for their britches. They get too in control. The American people tend to say, you know what, enough of you.
But here's, but here's the piece that Speaker Boehner is missing, and that Democrats have a problem with. Republicans have been doing very well on the state level. And so when Howard Dean was head of the DNC, he kept talking about a 50-state strategy. Frankly, Democrats have abandoned that. And so that's what you need to look at. So Republicans are doing well. Governor's mansions, House and Senate on the state side. And so this whole notion that you're going to have one party in control, annihilating, it's nonsense.
All right.
Not
That's a great point.
Thanks very much. Although it's nice to hear, vocabulary.
It's a great word.
It's nice to hear vocabulary coming out of Washington.
2 N's.
Annihilate, yes. It's better than, you know, some of the other terms we've heard that they've used off camera talking about each other recently in the that meeting on the debt ceiling. All right.